Okay, what do I got for the viewers? Oh, hello viewers, another beautiful day. Hope your five senses work, health and strength is good. Or, excellent. What? What says Warner Brothers continue to blame Suicide Squad for poor revenues for poor revenue 1 year later. Well, the problem is not Suicide Squad. The problem is really, you know what? Let me. The problem is really Warner Brothers. Listen to this. It says here, Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League needs no introduction after it became one of the last year's biggest failures. It really isn't, but I explain. It says here, Warner Brothers game previously blamed the title for losses worth millions of dollars, and it seems the company is still not happy with everything that happened last year. In its latest financial report, Warner Brothers reports yet another round of disappointing financial figures, citing Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League failure as a major reason for the less than stellar results. Why it matters, the publisher already ended support for this live service project early this year, but it seems Warner Brothers has yet to fully move on from the financial hit brought by the title. And it says here, highlighted quarter 2025 highlight, studio revenues decreased 16% X/FX to 2.31 million compared to the major quarter compared to a prior year quarter. Content revenue decreased 17% X/FX. Says theoretical revenue decreased 27% XFS as a result of the lower box office and home entertainment revenue, partially offset by higher intercompany content sale. The decrease in box office revenue was primarily due to the strong performance of Dune Part 2, Godzilla x Kong: The New Empire, as well as higher carryover from the fourth quarter 2023 theatrical release in the prior year. The decrease in home entertainment revenue was primarily due to robust performance of Wonka and Aquaman and Lost Kingdoms. It said game revenue decreased 48% XFX due to a prior year release of Suicide Squad Killed Justice League, compared to no release in content a quarter, as well as higher carryover Hogwarts Legacy, Mortal Kombat 1 in the prior year. TV revenue increased 4% XFX, primarily driven by higher intercompany content sales, primarily offset by lower initial telecast revenue due to the timing of delivery. Anyway, says here, discussing the financial of quarter 1 2025, Warner Brothers note that games revenue declined by a whopping 48% this quarter. And it says, as per the company, this decline was a result of the lack of major release over the last few months. Moreover, Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League failure to meet expectation continues to hurt the publisher. And then it says, it should be noted that this game failure also contributes to cancellation of Wonder Woman, another major game project. All in the gaming division has certainly seen better days. On a more positive note, Mortal Kombat 1 and Hogwarts Legacy continues to generate revenue for the team. This is exactly why the publisher is going all in on the two IPs moving forward. It says Rocksteady has also begun hiring for a new project, with reports pointing to the return of Batman Arkham. As such, Warner Brothers' future could be much better than the present. Alright, look. Warner Brothers blaming Suicide Squad for their problems. Well, The problem isn't Suicide Squad. The problem is Warner Brothers. You know, instead of looking at the instead of going around blaming Suicide Squad, they should be looking at Suicide Squad like, okay, and try to. They should be looking at Suicide Squad to see what kind of new content, they can bring to Suicide Squad, and what kind of new game mechanics can they bring to the game. Just because you release a game, that don't mean it's the end all be all to that game. It's like one and done. Doesn't work like that. You need DLCs and expansions to improve it. So Warner Brothers should look at Suicide Squad like, okay, what can they improve? What can they fix? What new ideas what can they improve? What can they fix? Meaning from story wise, gameplay wise, combat wise, communication wise, all of the above. What can they improve and what can they fix? And what can they bring to the table as far as like, a new story content and stuff like that. So Suicide Squad to me is not really over. When it comes to these video games, it's not really over. You just got to keep adding new stuff to it to get it where it needs to be. Just because you didn't have that blockbuster success out the door, that don't mean that's the end to that game. It means that you got to improve some things on it. The same could be said for Redfall. The same could be said for the Avengers. The same could be said for Concord. The same could be said for Anthem. Those games were never done. Those games needed DLCs and expansions and improvements as far as like gameplay, communication, combat, customization, all that. It needs improvements in those areas. So those games were never done. Suicide Squad to me is far from done. It's just that Warner Brothers need to really need to add some new content to that game, and improve it. The same could be said for Warner Brothers Batman Arkham Origins. That game was never done. It was never done. It needs to be more open, like I would say Arkham Knight. For instance, like say landing on top of the plaza where the Joker was, like getting on top of that and then landing on top of the gargoyle that's attached to the building. That's one. Getting on top of that light tower by the bridge. That's another one. Getting inside it, ride the elevator all the way up. Probably getting into some combats or whatever, and then getting on top of that and then flying off that to the bridge or to whatever building you're trying to get to. So, Batman Arkham Origins was never finished, so Warner Brothers need to look at that. Or like getting off the Joker's Plaza, flying to different locales, getting on top of the the light tower, and then landing on top of the bridge where the pillars that hold the bridge up, or landing anywhere on the on the map. Some more Riddler puzzles. Some more Riddler puzzles could have helped in those sewer drains. All those sewer drains, like under the GCPD building too, where the water is running, where the explosives were, and you see the bats are flying inside that in the sewers. You're like, okay, where does that lead to? Does that lead to the Bat Cave, or does that lead back to, or does it lead to Blackgate? So that could have been improved. So there was a lot of work that needed to be done on Batman Arkham Origins. So that game was not finished. So the problem with the Suicide Squad is not Suicide Squad. It's Warner Brothers with their high expectation. You know, they don't sit there and so look at the game and say, okay, what can we improve? What can we fix? You know, what needs to be cleaned up? They don't look at it from that perspective. You know, I bet you if they look at it from that perspective, they'll get the success that they're looking for with Suicide Squad. But they're so busy blaming Suicide Squad for the problem that they're not looking at themselves. You know, so it's like they're trying to deflect blame. You know, from like working on the deflect blame so they don't be accused of it individually, but they want the game to take the blame. But the game can't get fixed by itself. The game has to be fixed by individuals, so, by the employees at Warner Brothers. So the problem is not Suicide Squad, man. It's Warner Brothers for not improving the game. You know, as far as like the open worldness of the game, and you know, yeah. So, but when it comes to today's games, though, you need DLCs. You need DLCs and expansions to build today's games. You know, just because you come out the gate, that don't mean it's the end all be all to that game. You know, it means that there's some more work to be done. You know, so and you have to fix today's games, like in real time, meaning that you're talking to to your user base of that game and getting feedback from them what needs to be fixed. You know, versus just sitting there blaming the game and not doing anything. You know, Rare Studios is a good example of that, because they when it came to Sea of Thieves, they didn't sit back and just blame Sea of Thieves for their problems. Rare Studios, you know, started to work on Sea of Thieves, but also they were talking to the users in real time. They were talking to the users, you know, and having community events, and they were talking to the users, and the users was giving them all the fuel, giving them feedback, meaning fuel for them now to fix Sea of Thieves, and look how it turned out. So the problem is not when it comes to Warner Brothers, the problem is not Suicide Squad. The problem is Warner Brothers themselves refusing to fix the problems that they the problems that Suicide Squad is presenting. They just want to sit there and keep blaming versus like okay, you know, we need to fix this and this, you know. So yeah, and they're not even talking to the users. They're not even talking to the users of Suicide Squad. Like, okay, users, what on this game, Suicide Squad, what needs to be fixed? You know, give us the feedback we need so we can fix this. They're not even doing that. So it's not just the game, you know. It's Warner Brothers, man. So yeah, they're so worried about their profit margins that they're not seeing that they got to put the work into Suicide Squad to get the profit margins that they're looking for. So it's not Suicide Squad. It's Warner Brothers, man. So the same could be said for the same what I just said about Suicide Squad could be said for Anthem. Could be said for Redfall. Could be said for Concord. Could be said for the Avengers. You know, yeah, it's all about communication. You know, so I mean, like I said, look at Rare Studios when they came out with Sea of Thieves. You know, the game got some pushback, but me personally, I was saying that Sea of Thieves was better than Assassin's Creed Black Flag. I was saying that it was better than that. So what Rare did was talk to the users, and then the users sending them feedback, and then it was a back and forth thing, and it worked. The feedback that they were getting from the users, Rare used that as fuel motivation to fix Sea of Thieves. And when they kept updating it, the user base jumped on Xbox. The user base jumped to like about what, I think about 30 to 40 million users, and then now it's on PlayStation. So yeah, communication is big in today's video game world. So you have to communicate with developers. So getting on YouTube and then throwing a fake tantrum and then claiming that you're talking about it, but you're not talking to the developers, it's not serving any purpose, man. So you have to today's games is all about communications, and to fix games now. Today's games, it's all about communication, and the developers got to talk to the users got to talk to the developers, and that's how they're gonna get stuff fixed, get stuff done, So and then seeing that game's growth. So all those games that I mentioned, if they would have taken that route, they would have gotten the success that they're looking for. So yeah. But other than that, man, yeah. But that's what's needed for Suicide Squad. You have to instead of sitting there just blaming the game. You have I mean. It's you have to look at yourself. They have to look at themselves individually, like, okay, and ask themselves some questions like, okay, what can they do going forward to fix this game so they can get the success that they're looking for. And that's and that's what it's gonna take to actually do that. So yeah, yeah. But I mean, like when it came to video games, social media, social media exposed the game industry. It did. It exposed it. It exposed the game industry. Nobody can run and nobody can hide anymore, and nobody can finger point anymore. So social media now, like, okay, the way to fix games now is through what? Communication now between the developers and the users. That's what it's going to take. Meaning that you need DLCs and expansions to build game, and the users now, the developers, they have to talk to their user base if they want to survive this game industry, and then the user base, they have to talk to the developers. So all this yelling that people are doing online, and then they're not talking to the developers, it's a waste. So social media, man, really exposed the video game industry, So developers now, they're gonna have to get the success that you're looking for now. They have to talk to the users, They have to talk to their user base. They can't leave the user base just isolated, just playing the same game, and you're not adding any context or or any communication to them, like, okay, and you're not talking to them. It doesn't work. Look at who is that? CD Projekt Red with Cyberpunk. Look at CD Projekt Red. They didn't give up on it. They didn't. They did the things that what I was talking about. They talked to the users. They were listening to the users, and they were using the users' information as feedback, to fix Cyberpunk. Look at Cyberpunk now. A lot of gamers loved it. Every time a new say a new tech from Nvidia, AMD, or Intel comes out, Cyberpunk is front and center. It's front and center. They always use that game to show off the capabilities of the new tech. Whether it's a new FSR, DLSS, ray tracing, path tracing, XCSS, fluid motion frame, smooth motion, Cyberpunk is front and center. Warner Brothers don't take that approach. They're stuck in limbo. They're stuck in that quicksand mode of, like, we're going to continue to blame Suicide Squad, blame, and not do nothing. So you can't. For them to fix their problem, they're going to have to look at themselves individually and look at what the users, And if they're not talking to the users, and that's another problem too, you know. So yeah, they have to, in order to get today's games fixed, man. In order to get today's games fixed and repaired, and you know, the developers got to talk to the users got to talk to the developers, and you know, that's how they get the success that they're looking for now. Because gone were the days now where you would where developers would like come out with a game and then release it, and then you never hear from them again. You know, it's like you know, they would hide it. They would hide in the background. They can't do that no more, because why? Social media expose them now. They can't hide no more, because you got all kind of social media platforms now to talk to developers. Now you got blogs. Now you got email system. You got podcasts. You got video conferencing. They can't developers can't hide no more. They can't hide no more. So Warner Brothers got to look at themselves like, okay, how do they fix this, and then take it from there. So yeah. That's what it's going to take now in today's gaming world now. So people that are getting on YouTube now, and getting on YouTube and then throwing fake tantrums and talking about, oh, I want to hold a conversation, but they're not talking to the developers. Their information is useless. They got to talk to the developers, and then the developers got to talk to them, and then that's how they get the games fixed, man. So yeah, look at who is that? Look at Starfield. Look at Bethesda and Starfield. Yeah, the game has gotten better because why? Bethesda is using the feedbacks that they're getting to as fuel, as motivation to keep them going, so they can fix the game, and the game has gotten better. So yeah, that's what it's gonna take, man. So Warner Brothers sitting there blaming Suicide Squad and not doing anything. It's a waste, man. It's a waste, you know. So it's I mean, they're wasting their time, man. They really need to talk to the user base of our Suicide Squad and see what they can do, you know, to fix what can they fix within Suicide Squad. But that game is far from finished. Okay. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Nice talking to you people again. Chris, Star Wars Search Flag for Dark Section. Go. Peace.